Hey guys, it's your girl Shonna Etienne, and I just pulled up at the naturopathic doctor's office, and it's called Whole Body Natural Wellness Center. Whole Body Natural Wellness Center in Saddlebrook, New Jersey. I'm going to go in, take you with me, so we can get an understanding of what natural medicine is, how it looks like, what we can expect, as well as the services they offer. So take this journey with me, and I hope you learn something from it as well. Speak to you soon.
My name is Dr. Shonna, and I am a licensed naturopathic doctor. And basically what that means is that I'm a holistic practitioner, and I use natural therapies such as vitamins, minerals, botanicals, homeopathic remedies as tools to help my clients overcome any disease process that they may have or prevention of disease.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between seeing me versus seeing a medical doctor is that I am the type of doctor that looks to find the cause of disease. So I don't just treat symptoms, I treat the whole person. It's my goal to figure out what's causing the symptoms of the clients that come in to see me, because if you treat the symptoms, if you treat the person, the whole person, the symptoms will go away. So maybe someone with migraines may come to see me, and it's not just enough, even when it comes to natural therapies, it's not just enough to say, hey, here's some magnesium or some of the traditional natural therapies that will be utilized for migraines, but it's my job to figure out why this person has the migraine. So are they sleeping? What are they eating? Are they eating too much dairy? Do they have a lot of stress? Are they dehydrated? Because there could be several causes as to what might cause a person to have migraine. So basically sitting down with the person, getting a good understanding of their health history and their lifestyle. Most people will tell you exactly what's wrong with them if you listen. So I'm the doctor that listens, and I ask questions to kind of draw out what I think might be going on with my client. I always tell my clients I'm not anti-conventional medicine, but I do feel that in today's society, most people go to a drug, or they look for some type of fast cure for whatever symptom they may be having. And so a big part of my job is to inform my clients to be empowered to take responsibility for their health. And so in doing that, I'm helping them to transform their thinking when it comes to health. Health is not just the absence of disease. So I'm teaching people to understand how their body works, to listen to what their bodies are saying. And in doing that, I'm showing them how to live healthier lives, right?
Okay.
So I'm showing them how to eat better. I'm showing them the importance of sleeping and how that affects their overall chemistry in the body. I'm teaching them. I'm their guide. I'm their coach. They're not out there alone. There's tons of supplements. There's a lot of information out there. And it's overwhelming for a lot of people. So I'm here to offer support and to help them on their journey to health.
So I want to get your opinion about, what do you think is happening in this world? Like, there's a lot of people who are being diagnosed with cancer at rapid rates. And cancer, in my opinion, in many cases are killing us faster than HIV has ever killed us,
Absolutely.
So why do you think that's happening? Why do you think so many people, as young as babies to as old as whatever, are getting cancer at the rate that is occurring here in America?
Inflammation.
I'm going to have to bring a chair next to you for this topic, if you don't mind. Cancer is the reason why that's happening.
Inflammation is the root cause to all disease, and cancer is just one of those diseases. And so when I talk about inflammation, oftentimes when I'm doing presentations, I give the example of when someone sprains an ankle. You get the hallmark signs of acute inflammation, which will be redness, pain to that particular joint, the inability to move it, swelling. And that's actually a good thing. It's our body's way of telling us that something is wrong, so that all of the chemical mediators can go to that area and healing can take place. But when that inflammation doesn't get turned off, it becomes chronic and it becomes deadly. and it leads to different diseases such as cancer, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease.
Okay, so you're saying that inflammation in and of itself, when it occurs for the purpose of healing your body, is fine.
Right.
There's nothing deadly in that. But it's when the body doesn't turn off the inflammation that it contributes to cancer.
Yes.
So intellectually, I understand that. I get it intellectually. I'm having a hard time understanding how does the body turn off inflammation, number one. B, what makes it turn into cancer? Like, what is cancer?
Well, cancer is multifactorial. Inflammation is one part, but it's environmental, there's genetics. I think that when there's excess amounts of inflammation chronically in the body, it just makes the body more susceptible to developing into a cancer, because you may have people that have, two women, for instance, may have a family history of cancer. One may get it and one may not. You know, there's other factors that definitely go into play when it comes to that. But I think, you know, we can't control our genetics, you know, for the most part. We can't control, you know, what's in the air when we walk outside, but we can definitely control what we eat. You know, we can try to control our stressors as much as possible in our life. So those are the things that we can control, is what we should be looking towards in order to minimize our risk for developing cancers or any other type of disease.
So when inflammation enters our body, like you gave the example of a sprained ankle, what other things will happen to our body that would cause inflammation to occur?
Well, it's actually the stress, right? So it's the stress that's happening in the body that's causing that inflammation. So it's a stressor, you know. So, you know, for whatever reason, when you have a sprained ankle and the proper chemical mediators are able to get there to cause healing, that's the body's response to that. But, you know, if you're eating, you know, McDonald's every single day, if you're eating a lot of sugar and you're adding all this extra stress into your body, the body is not able to work in that fashion. Things are not going to go properly the way the body is supposed to be responding. Okay, so a stressor will trigger inflammation. Absolutely.
So if you physically hurt your body, you're going to become inflamed because the physically hurting your body is actually a stressor on your body.
Right.
So if you are, what about if you're mentally stressed or emotionally stressed? Does that lead to inflammation as well?
Absolutely.
Tell me about that.
For instance, we talked about cortisol, you know, so if you're mentally stressed, you know, your adrenals are going to be working extra hard to produce and making sure that the levels of cortisol are balanced in the body. That in and of itself is going to cause inflammation.
Okay, so if you're stressed, that's going to trigger the inflammation. Our body doesn't know. The body doesn't know stress because of something happened. You got hurt. You damaged your body.
Stress is stress. Whether it's a mental stress or an emotional stress, the body still sees it as stress. Even something as minimal as not getting enough sleep. You know,
that's still stress on the body.
That's stress on the body, because that's the time where the body is able to rest and reset, and things are, you know, happening in the body that to help us, you know, heal, and that can't happen if we're not getting enough sleep.
So another thing I wanted to know about, I have come across a lot of people who are vegetarians, and I even met some who are vegans as well, who have had bouts of cancer. And they claim that it's not a family history. I don't know whether it is or is not, but they have had diagnosis of cancer, specifically a lot of them breast cancer particularly. What do you say about that? What stress in their life contributes to that?
It could be stress. Again, it could be genetics. It could be what they're eating. A lot of people think that just because they're vegetarian, that they're healthy because they're not eating meat. And there's some truth to that, but I often ask, when I see someone that's a vegetarian, the first question that comes into my mind is, are they a healthy vegetarian? Because you have vegetarians that may not eat meat, but they eat a whole lot of junk, a whole lot of simple carbohydrates that are not easily processed in the body. They eat a lot of junk food, you know, so they may not be eating the burger, but they're eating the French fries from McDonald's. You know, so that...
What are they not eating the French fries from McDonald's?
If they're not eating the French fries from McDonald's, I would have to know more about that particular person and really talk to them to see what other factors are playing. I mean, I know I do a lot of work too with blood type diets.
Okay, blood type diets. Blood type. What are blood type
So blood type
Diets.
diet is basically a diet that would be geared for someone who is blood type A, B, or O.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So for someone, for instance, who is blood type A, they would do better on more of a vegetarian diet.
I'm a blood type. I'm an A positive.
Okay.
So you're telling me I would do better
with
with
a vegetarian diet.
with a vegetarian, even cutting out my fish.
No, you could have
fish.
I mean, you could have fish.
Okay.
You could have fish, but just not the meats. And versus someone who's blood type O, they would do better on more of a meat-based diet because they have more hydrochloric acid in their stomach, so they're better able to digest meat protein.
So you mean to tell me our blood types really does speak to the type of diet that it needs to thrive?
Yes.
Our blood types.
Absolutely.
Are you serious?
I've had, in the last couple of weeks, I've had 2 clients that have come in who were they both happen to be blood type O. We just taking gluten out of their diet, the weight just started dropping off because a lot of the inflammation was decreased.
So with me being an A positive, I'm better suited for a vegetarian diet. That is amazing. The test that we have scheduled for next week Friday, will we find that out?
We could do, I can have a blood typing test available for you. So while
I
she's
know
doing
I'm
your blood type.
I know, I donate blood.
Yes.
So I know I'm A positive.
Okay.
So that's amazing. That I'm just like flabbergasted because there are a lot of people who are vegetarians and they do get sick. I've met some and there are a lot of vegetarians that are overweight as well. So even though we're talking about stressors on the body, I would imagine that being overweight is a form of stress on the body as well. So that can be inflammation in these people's bodies as well. Absolutely. That is actually leading to cancer in many cases. So it sounds like for us, the goal is to keep the inflammation down in our bodies.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else in our bodies we need to be really keeping under control?
I honestly say the thyroid has become one of the most important organs to me. That I see a lot of women with thyroid issues. I have a lot of women come in who say, I'm feeling fatigued. I'm having difficulty losing weight. My hair is thinning. I'm not sleeping well.
Wow.
My doctor checked my thyroid levels, Dr. Shonna. I really don't want to have them checked again. But because and like I said earlier, when you ask the right questions, a lot of times people will tell you the answers just in listening to them. And, from my experience, I found that conventional medical doctors aren't always looking at all of the thyroid hormone levels that they should be looking at, because conventionally they would just look at one hormone, and that's kind of changed now. That's the old school way of doing things. And so I use a testing company that looks at thoroughly at the thyroid, and it gives me a lot of information. So oftentimes I find something.
So for basically what I'm hearing you saying, from how my ears are hearing it, is we go to these conventional doctors and we get our conventional blood work, right? And they're not looking at the full range of the areas that they focus on. They just make sure what they need to see is within normal ranges, and they call it a day. But you're saying, as a naturopathic doctor, you just can't check one area of thyroid. There are multiple areas to thyroid, and working with you checks it all. So something that a conventional medicine doctor can miss, you can perhaps pick it up.
And even if it's within the reference range, there's a thing as the high end of the reference range and the low end of the reference range. And so some people may be within that reference range and still have symptoms that they're at either end of the spectrum.
Wow. So I learned that. So what exactly is a cancer? What is it? We know what it does to us. But is it a mutation of cells? Is it the cells not dying off? Like, what is a cancer?
Cancer is just cells that continue to replicate, and they don't stop replicating. So normally when you have cells in your body, they go through a life cycle, they replicate, they die off, new cells are made. In cancer cells, that doesn't turn off. So the cells are constantly dividing, and oftentimes they break off from the primary organ that's infected, and they metastasize or spread to different organs.
So when they start metastasizing and spreading to different organs, is that the same as when they start to stage cancer?
Yes. 0 stage, it means the cancer is completely isolated to that area. Most likely they would just do surgery to remove the cancerous cells or the mass that was found, and the prognosis is extremely well, versus someone who has stage 4 cancer. That cancer has now broken off and has started to spread to other different organ systems in the lymph nodes and things like that.
So that's the difference. So what I'm hearing Dr. Callis say is if you're stage 0, meaning it's isolated, it's in one area, it could be removed with surgery, it can be contained, and your prognosis looks better for you, meaning being a survivor of cancer and coming out of this thing well. If you're stage 1, 2, 3, or 4, that means it has moved out of its original place and it has started to spread to other areas. So that's when it becomes harder to actually maintain and control, because they're no longer treating one area. They actually have to start treating other areas, and that's when more aggressive forms of treatment come into place: radiation, chemotherapy, surgeries, stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow, that is so
And so
powerful.
prevention is key. So that's why I encourage people to come see a naturopathic doctor, come see me, so we can talk about getting you on the road to health so that you don't get to that stage.
So you don't get to that stage, and it's more than just the inflammation in the body.
Yes.
It's thyroids. It's your liver functioning. It's your gynecological functioning. It's just making sure that everything is doing what it's supposed to do. And I'll say this one last thing, and then we're going to get off of here. But I remember you telling me when I came here today for an appointment to do my assessment. I'm coming back on Friday for my blood work. The type of blood work. Tell them the type of blood work I'm getting.
So Shonna's going to be having a micronutrient test done as well as a cardiometabolic test. So the micronutrient test actually looks for nutrient deficiencies within the lymphocytes, which are white blood cells, and it gives me a good picture of where Shonna's nutritional status is, so that I'm not just throwing supplements at her. I know exactly what her deficiencies are, and we can work towards repleting those deficiencies. And the cardiometabolic test is going to be giving me a thorough understanding of what Shonna's whole cardiometabolic makeup is. So we're going to be looking at her insulin and her glucose and her homocysteine levels, which are an inflammatory marker, as well as her C-reactive protein. We're going to be looking at her total cholesterol, as well as her lipids, her LDLs, HDLs, and even some genetic risk factors for atherosclerosis.
What is that?
Hardening of the arteries. So we're going to look at your likelihood.
What is it called again?
Atherosclerosis.
You're going to have to write that spelling down for me so I can put it in the video. Okay, so it's hardening of the arteries. That leads to heart attack?
Stroke.
Wow, heart attack and stroke as well. Wow. I'm really excited about this because I have a benign heart murmur. I still don't even know what that means, but that's what I have. So it'll be interesting to see how this stuff is coming back, because maybe it might be the kicker I need in my behind to be better at my exercise. And I do exercise, but I need to be consistent and better at it all the time, my exercise and my diet. I really do appreciate coming in here today. I appreciate having you. How can people reach you? You can reach me at my office number is 201-881-9563. My website is www.DrShante.com. I'm located, the name of my business is Whole Body Natural Wellness Center. I'm located at 49 Market Street in Saddlebrook, New Jersey. We do Skype consultations as well as phone consultations as well. And any of the blood work that we do, the kits can be shipped to you, and we can find a lab facility close to you to have the blood work done as well. That is so awesome. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to interview you. Thank you for coming to Cultivate, Elevate, and Activate, where we talk about real stuff that can help real people. Okay? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. See you on Friday. Okay. Awesome.